What I want to do today was introduce you to Career Underground a little bit more intimately and let you know a little bit about what it is that we're trying to do here with our company, with this young startup. You know, this is a startup made of knowledge and experiences before the technology is built. So what we're trying to do is build in the meaning that we bring from our professional lives into what we're going to deliver for you as a service. Now, the technology is going to come based on how valuable you think that what we have to offer you is to the assistance of managing your career. So in managing your career, there are a lot of variables that we just don't take full advantage of, or we don't know. You know, it's one of those things around here where we talk about we don't know what we don't know. But there are a lot of things that we do know, and when we know how to achieve outcomes and we know how to our goals and our ambitions, then we're moving ahead and we feel more comfortable and confident, and from that confidence builds more competence, and then from that competence builds more confidence. So there's a lot of growth that happens from just us knowing how to achieve the results that we're after. One of the small details that people have asked me about in the past and from my book, but what we're trying to do is introduce you to get you on path, not to tell you everything that you need to know about career and success. There's a lot of mysteries in the world and we can never get to everything, but what we're doing is laying out a groundwork for what's to come. One of the things that we talk about in the book is building your value proposition. And I thought, you know what, we're starting this company. We're trying to add value to you in your life, and what better way to explain the concept of a value proposition than to use our own company as an example. So that's what I want to do now today. Probably the best place that you can, the place that you see the use for a value proposition is at work. You know, it's in your life and your livelihood. It's in your job and your career. And we start by our interviews. You know, we go into an interview, and that's usually how people think of themselves in management of their career, because job interviewing is a transition, and that means you're trying to get to that next level, or you have that opportunity to rise. When you go on your interviews, when you're interviewing particularly, you have to present your knowledge, your skills, your experiences in a way that conveys not just your qualifications for the job, but your value to the company as they see your use for the job that they have for you to do. And when you can recognize that you are a solution to their problem, whatever that problem is, whatever your skill set is, that's where the magic happens. That's where the hiring decision happens. So just right there, when you understand that you're solving a problem, that means that you're creating a value. Okay? Now, the greater the value proposition that you can make, the easier the decision is to hire you, or to trust a confidence in promoting you, or to give you a new assignment, or to partner with you in business, or to trust with you to lend, or whatever the relationship is. But your value proposition is what drives those decisions. And your ability to relay that information is communication skill, and it's also a career best practice. So being able to develop your value proposition is something that we should all be working on. And as a company, Career Underground, our mission is to develop our company using these same techniques that we're teaching. So if I tell you that we're trying to create a very strong value proposition, something that you can see the obvious value in and that you want to be a part of, well, then I'm doing my job well and effectively. And that's also something that I'm always striving for in terms of leading this group and this company and this ambition, and these are our intentions to make this technology company into what it's going to be. So it's from that we are building into the future. Now, a big mistake that people make is that they rely upon their previous performance to dictate exactly what will happen next in their careers. So when you think about interviewing, for instance, again, in an interview setting, you are recalling your work experience as you think it applies to that position. But they're not hiring you to do somebody else's job. They're hiring you to do the job that is laid out in front of you. And what you need to do is target your focus, your skills and abilities onto that position and demonstrate how you are just going to get that job done. Okay, so what you know, put into practical use, predictable return, so that way they have an understanding. I want to talk about a couple things with your value proposition. In order to really create a value proposition, you have to be able to understand your own abilities first and foremost, what you bring to the table. So you have to know yourself. I'll just put that down. I'll do this. Value proposition. I know that sounds obvious, but so many of us mistake the way that we perceive even our own skills. You know, we don't talk about what we're great at. We talk about maybe what we do on a daily basis. It's hard to see and kind of quantify, just as an individual, just how valuable we really are, okay? And it's a new mindset. You have to recognize that it's more than just the accumulation of the experiences you've had. It's how you put those to use going forward. And this is knowing yourself, knowing what you're going to do with this knowledge, the skill that you have, the experiences that you've built up. So understanding that, your qualifications, your competencies, all those go into knowing yourself. The next thing you have to do is really value yourself. Value your skills and value your time. There's a value there. Obviously, we're talking about a value proposition. Value yourself. Okay? Mention that. Know yourself. Value yourself. Value your skills. Value your time. Yourself, your skills. I'll put it like this. Your skills, your time. And then, you know, how those relate to the need of the company around you and the work that you're doing. So it also has to do with the solution that you're making. You're solutions oriented. So let's work with that. You have to know yourself, you have to know what skills you have to know how valuable your time is in order to be able to present it in a way that says, invest in me this much, okay? And when you're able to understand what you bring to the table, the time it takes to get that job done, the skills that are missing from their current arsenal that get that job done, you can recognize the vacancy that exists when you're in an employment relationship. But in a business transaction, it's the same thing. They need a job to be done. When you understand what the end result is going to be, you're now creating a value proposition. Okay? So if you are in marketing, or if you're in marketing, what you want to do is not imagine getting the job, but what the job will mean to the person who you're doing the job for. And when you paint that picture for them, when they can see the solution through the value proposition that you're creating, now you have an eager audience to work with. They're going to want to buy from you every time because you see a future and they can imagine the steps that it takes for them to reach that goal. Okay, so that's the other thing. So you're giving with this confidence to your audience that you know what you're talking about, and you're developing. I said. Then in so doing, you develop competence. I'll put this over here. Okay? You're giving your customer confidence, and then on the other side, you're developing your own confidence to then go ahead and do it again and again and again. And this is how you achieve more and more in your career, in your business. You take the next step. This is how you get to the next step. You know, when you build your value proposition, you want to find and offer your services as solutions, okay? As solutions. It's not just, you know, when you see the work that needs to be done, you know, that's boring. The work is boring. That's hard. Doing the hard work is a career best practice. Working harder than anybody else is a career best practice. But when you see that the hard work that you're doing is creating a solution, that's when your value rises, okay? So a mistake that people make is that they don't value their contributions enough to the grand scheme of things to see how your role interacts within the organization. So learn to find that. I wrote this down. To the customer, find and offer your services and solutions to the customer in a way in which it explains the extent of their problem and the impact of your solution. Explain the extent of their problem and the impact of your solution. Okay? So it's not just about what you bring to the table. I mean, this is great. You know, you have a solution out there. But what's the solution? What's the other side of it? I'm just going to put it over here. You know, there's a problem. And it's behind me, maybe, on camera. But there's a problem that maybe you don't know about. You have to guess at what that problem is. Now, I'll say this, just as if you're in transition mode, if you're in job transition mode, and too many people are, but in job transition mode, you know, if the job is open, this is why they ask you, you know, to inquire about why the position is vacant, okay? Now, if somebody left on their own, if they were promoted, that's good news. If they were fired, that's bad news. If somebody just quit, that tells a different story. If they created a new position, that tells a different story. And all of those different stories tell a little bit about the culture and the needs and the dynamic of the individuals that you're bringing your solution to, okay? Same thing with business development, okay? When you're developing your business, you have to see that solution that you're bringing. So if you're that person in marketing, you have to see what it is that you're painting, that picture that you're painting out there for your customer as you see the solution being delivered. But your solution may not map to what their problem is, you know? You may want to build, if you're an architect, the Taj Mahal. But if they're only asking for, a two-car garage, that has a tool bench in the back, a workbench in the back, then, you're great at your job, but it's not the right fit. They're not going to want you for that job, okay? They may want you, but they can't afford you if you played your value proposition right. And that's the other thing, is if you're capable of building the Taj Mahal, what are you doing building garages? Let's get real. Let's take what you know how to do and make it an art form, That's a worthy goal. Let's get the expression of your personality out so that you have more a distinctive style, right? And that's part of your value. Because when you express that, when you give that to your employer, to your business partner, to your customer, that's what builds the bonds of trust. And from that, future business decisions are made. So with that, explain the extent of your problem. Know the problem, okay? Guess, if you don't know the problem, you can make good guesses at it and kind of filter your presentation accordingly. Not everybody has the same starting point in their career, but everybody has the need to develop their value proposition, okay? So even if you're not in transition mode, and this is the biggest mistake that people make, is I hope to make abundantly clear, job and career are not the same thing. It's their job, but it's your career, okay? It's their job. They can take it away anytime they want. It's your career, and you still have to manage it. You're still going to have all your skills and experiences. Everything, all your accomplishments come with you. All that insight about the company, their processes, all the ways that you know how to manage your job to get that job done, they go with you. All that intimate knowledge of the corporation, that's yours, okay? That's valuable. And when you understand that, even if you're not in transition mode, maybe one day you will be. You should be. We're growing out of our jobs. We want new challenges, new opportunities to express our potential. We can do more, we can be more, and there's a lot of creative ideas out there on the sidelines just waiting to be tapped. So understand the problem as best that you can, and then how your solution then impacts. So problem meets solution. Problem meets solution. Now, this is the real trick. So when you're really working on your value proposition, when you really understand that you have something unique to offer, you can also recognize that the customer without that, the manager without your solution, without your work ethic, without the company, without you in the team, okay? The company without you in the team as a part of their future planning. That's a value proposition, because you're recognizing the pain that your absence would bring as well, okay? Even if you're selling your services, okay? If you're selling your services, then if this didn't exist, then what does it cost, right? Well, yeah, I can go find somebody else, right? But do you know how many other marketing groups do you have that you want to go filtering through? How many do they want to go through, right, to find the right one? How many more creatives do you have to talk to before you find the one that is going to do the job for you? Same thing with employment. Same thing with your career. All these things play into the dynamics of decision making. Now, when you can make the exact right value proposition, you win, and they win, because they'll hire you, and you'll win because they're paying you for your competence, okay? And it's your confidence in your competence that takes you to that next level, okay? You have to put yourself out there to be seen and heard, and position you have to position yourself so that you are able to be viewed as that solution that that it would be silly not to support. The best kind of services that you can offer are the ones with low risk and high reward. Okay, but you know, that value proposition is one that most people will buy, and this is how you move up. If you're on the fence, if they're on the fence with you about skills and experiences, you can make up for that with enthusiasm and interest and creativity and follow through and demonstration of work ethic. There are a lot of subtle things that you can do to enhance your value proposition, but this is how you break through. Whatever it takes to break through, that's what you have to do, okay, to get that additional level of experience. Low risk and high reward. So, and this demonstrates your outcome. You know, you can paint the outcome when you do it this way. Okay? So offer your services and demonstrate an expectation of risk and reward of the outcome. Okay? So you want to create a low risk, high reward. And don't leave yourself out of this either. Now, this is part of understanding your value proposition. Okay? When you are absolutely aces, okay, especially when you're just carving into that next level, that ambition is in you, and you know that you have more to offer, and you're putting yourself out there, you're taking the chances, you're doing all the right things, and you are the one that puts the price tag on your time. Now, you're the one that has to earn that price tag, but if you don't see the outcome yourself, then you'll never value yourself the right way. You have to learn that your skills are advancing, and when your skills advance, that's when you can charge more. And when you understand how to create a value proposition, now we're in that position where they win and you win, and that makes win-win. And that's where we're ultimately headed. So understand the concept of building a successful value proposition, and you're in good shape. Let me give you a couple pointers. I'll just walk through this really quick, and then we'll wrap this up. But you know, you really want to demonstrate a track record of accomplishments in motion. Okay, think of that. You're in motion. How do you perform in motion? And when you do that, when you can see that it's not just the things you know, but those things just keep getting better. Okay, your performance is still on the rise. Okay, that helps to create a good value proposition. You're looking for a new challenge, a new goal, a new opportunity, a new place to develop your skills and experiences to take them to that next level. You're looking for a home. Where is that? You know, that's a value proposition. That's how you demonstrate your value proposition. They can see you in their culture, okay? You have to fit, you know, but you have to bring value. You don't have to be a cookie cutter or vanilla. You just have to fit and work within their culture to get to that next level. Your command of the subject matter demonstrates your competence and abilities. Okay? Get to know yourself. Know yourself. You have to do this. This is your attitude. This is your approach. This is the way that you relate with your material. And when you get to this point, now you're on a roll. You have to be able to execute now. Okay? When the time is called upon, it's time now. Okay? And when they pick up the phone, they dial you, it's time for you to go. And that's your time. Okay? They're calling you in, you have to be able to deliver then. With anything, there should be an urgency to begin. Okay? It should be more than just let's keep talking about it. Have you ever noticed how the world is on this week-long calendar? You know, I mean, it's pretty obvious when we say it like that, but why don't we do things tomorrow? Or why don't we do things right now? Well, okay, I've got you in the room. Let's make a decision and move on together. Let's see how fast we can make the best decisions. That's a worthy goal. It's also a good idea. If all the critical thinkers are here, let's put a plan together. Collaborate, you know, find the way forward, you know. Now in an interview setting, that's tough. But if you're planning together, you know, and if you can build that confidence so that you can anticipate the outcome, and what the heck, I mean, you're going to have that outcome in your mind anyway, right? I mean, you're sitting in a chair, you're being interviewed and scrutinized, you're imagining yourself in this workplace, you have to do your best to get that job anyway. You might as well be thinking that they're going to hire you, you know? You might as well be putting that vision in your mind, painting the picture of what an ideal work environment looks like for you. Okay? It also goes with what you do every day, too. Be the change that you want to see in the world. It's Gandhi and it's my wife. She says that all the time. Be the change you want to see in the world. And when we do that, then we're moving forward. We're making that progress, and we have our chin up, and we're looking at the horizon, and we trust with confidence that we can get there. Okay? And we're building a career around us. We're changing the culture of the company around us as well. Small actions do that. You should understand the actions that need to be taken next. Okay? So, for instance, we're building Career Underground. That's what this is all about. What I'm looking for is your support. That's the bottom line for all of this. I'm creating a value proposition. I'm teaching everyone how to be successful in their careers. Anybody that wants to know, I'm teaching this kind of stuff over and over and over again, because it's not rocket science. It's just understanding the market, the dynamic of the environments that we're working in. And with your support, when you take action and you support this project, now we're getting our mission accomplished. Okay? I want to train you everything I know about career and career success. And there's a lot more to cover. And then ultimately you have to take the action. Okay? You have to be ready to take the action and then take the action. The urgency is now. At the same time, while we're eager to move the ball forward, we have to understand that it takes time to build trust. And it takes time to build confidence from others in us. So we take as much time as is needed, and we keep working and doing our due diligence so that when that time comes and we position ourselves correctly, then that action will be taken naturally. You know, it's the right choice, and that's the best way to build out a value proposition. But drive towards action. You want to make sure that the things that you're presenting about yourself are going to relate to the customer in a way that explains to them what their problem is and that you're the solution for it. So with that, we'll call it a wrap. And thank you very much for your time. Again, my name is Rob Siegel. I'm the founder of Career Underground. We're currently doing a fundraiser to capitalize the company. And on the other side of this, we'll be talking about job and career a whole lot more. We've got big changes and big plans ahead. Thanks very much.